story about how she met her husband. She said they were in the same church. But the first time that she saw him, she said, wow, this guy is fine. This guy is good. I just like him. So she would say that it was love at first sight. She said, Akosia, I fell in love with him. And then he was a church member, so he wasn't my friend. So I decided, that is what she said, I decided to maneuver my way into his life so that I would become his friend. So they became friends because, you know, if you are a lady and you want a guy, you know how to find a way, okay, to catch him. So that's exactly what she did. So she maneuvered her way into his life, and then they started mingling together, and then they became friends. And she was determined to have him. She was so determined in her mind that this guy would definitely be my husband. So she was ready to go all out for him. She was ready to sacrifice everything. She was ready to do everything. She was ready to do whatever will make that guy, okay, fall in love with her. But at that time, that guy was also pursuing a lady, and that lady wasn't consistent. So when this lady who told me the story, maneuvered her way into his life, she decided to be a good girl. And every Sunday she would cook and then take the food to his house. And then, I mean, she was so kind to him. And you know, men, when you are kind and you are able to meet their emotional needs, you make them feel valuable and important. And their physical needs, you ensure that they eat well and all that. It's like you are concerned about him. I mean, if you treat a man like that, the probability that he will fall is high. So this girl, because she was so determined to have him, she did her best. Okay, she was cooking for him. She was giving him gifts. She was doing whatever that he can in order for her to have him. So when they became friends and she started cooking for him, one day she said, Akosia, I decided to compromise on my values because I realized that this is the guy that I want. And I want him to marry me, and I cannot force him to marry me. Now that we are friends, and it's like the relationship was leading somewhere, I decided to allow this guy to have sex with me. And during that sex, I decided to give him an experience, unforgettable sex. So she did her best the first time that they met. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to give him an experience, unforgettable sex experience. I'm going to arouse him. I'm going to do whatever that I can to make him know that, hey, although I'm a Christian girl, I'm also a bad girl. So that's exactly what she did. So what's happened afterwards was that the guy was into that lady. Immediately that the lady started meeting his emotional needs, his sexual needs, and his physical needs. This guy said, well, I think, I can marry the girl that I'm pursuing. She's not paying any attention to me. This is the girl that I love, the girl that he was pursuing. The girl wasn't paying attention to him. So he said, this girl, she is a good girl. She knows how to cook. She knows how to satisfy me sexually. She knows how to make me feel alive. She knows how to make me feel valuable. So I'll marry. So after 2 years, they got married. But you see, that guy wasn't the one who pursued the lady. It was the lady who pursued him. So although they are married and they have 2 kids, the lady is not enjoying the marriage because the man is inside the marriage, but his heart is not there. The man respects her all right, but he doesn't show any affection. Okay, the woman is not feeling loved. The man is not dedicated to the marriage. He's not committed to the marriage. He's just doing a normal thing, husband stuff. There is no affection. So this woman is doing her best. This woman is trying to do whatever that she can in her marriage so that she can enjoy the marriage. But because she was the one who went after him, she was the one who pursued him. She was the one who did her best to have him. Now that she has him, she's not enjoying the marriage because the man is not into the marriage. It looks like this is what you wanted, now you have it, but you don't have my heart. And when we were talking, she wanted to share her story so that I can use it to help a lot of young people, especially young ladies who are getting ready to enter into the institution of marriage. So when I was advising her, I told her, my dear, you need to take responsibility. As women, we need to take responsibility. Sometimes when something is going on in the marriage, take your time and analyze and see. Just go back because you have a choice. You meet a lot of suitors when you are young. You decide to settle for that guy. So when things go on right or wrong, take responsibility. Don't accuse that man. Don't accuse anybody. Take responsibility. I am the one who chose you. I am the one who decided to settle down for you. I am the one who decided to allow you to marry me, because that man didn't force you, okay, to marry you. Okay, he came and then you decided, okay, because if you are a lady, or especially if you're a Christian lady, you decide the kind of man to submit to. You decide the kind of man to submit to. So when you settle down for a guy and then you marry him and you start seeing his weaknesses and his strength and all that, take responsibility. Don't point your finger. I don't understand why women accuse men, okay, as if it was the men who forced themselves on them. You have a choice. God has given you your free will. You have a choice. You decide the kind of man to submit to. You decide the kind of man to marry. You meet a lot of suitors. So the one that you settle down for, take responsibility. So that is the first thing. You need to take responsibility. If that man is not showing affection, it's not showing that it's not committed to the marriage, remember that you are the one who went after him. You are the one who pursued him. You wanted him. Now you have him, but you don't have his heart. You thought that, oh, if I'm able to satisfy him sexually, if I'm able to satisfy him emotionally, if I'm able to satisfy him physically, by all means, he will be mine. Now you have him, but his affection, okay, his affection is not with you, and he's not that committed to the marriage, because he knows that. He supplies your needs for you. He provides when he can, because you have been providing ever since you guys were dating. You were cooking for him free of charge. You were giving him free sex. You were supplying his needs and all that. You were washing his clothes. You did everything for him. So now you have to continue. You have to continue the journey. You started this, so you have to continue. Men are hunters. They have to hunt after you. So if you hunt after them, it will cost you. It will cost you. You have to pay the price. If that man is not godly, if that man will not consider certain stuff and say, well, I know that I don't have any emotional affection for this lady, but she is a good girl. So let me sacrifice for her. Let me dedicate myself for her. If he doesn't have that mentality, there is no way that you can have that affection. So that is the first one. As a woman, take responsibility. And then secondly, there is a story in Genesis chapter 29. It was about Leah and Rahel and then Jacob. You know that when Jacob was working for his uncle Laban, he was in love with Rahel. But after working for 7 years to have Rahel, in the night, his uncle presented Leah. So when he woke up in the morning, it was Leah. He wasn't in love with Leah. He was in love with Rahel. So he wasn't happy. But you see, that woman, God knew that she wanted to feel loved. But Jacob loved Rahel instead of her. So God decided to do something for her. God decided to allow her to have babies so that her husband will pay attention to her. So I told her that you can use that scripture to pray. Tell God, Father, I want my husband to love me. If there is something that you will give me that will make him pay attention to me. Okay, because as I say, you need to take responsibility. But with God, all things are possible. God is able to turn a mess into a message, test into a testimony. So although you know that the man doesn't love you, God can change things. God can make things happen. The heart of a king is in God's hands. So I told her that based on Genesis chapter 29, I think when you read from 16 downwards, you see the story between Jacob, Rahel, and Leah. And you realize that Jacob was in love with Rahel, not with Leah. But you see, their uncle, Jacob's uncle said that the elder daughter must marry before the younger one. So the uncle imposed Leah on Jacob. But Jacob wasn't in love with Leah. But God saw it, that woman was deficient in some way. That woman was not being valued. That woman was not being appreciated and loved. So God decided to give her something that will make Jacob pay attention to her. So God allowed her to have babies, and Rahel couldn't have even one baby at that time. When you read Genesis chapter 29. So I just want you to know that although you got yourself into it, I will not tell you to leave the marriage, because you knew what you were getting yourself into. So since you have taken responsibility, go to your father who loves you unconditionally, who knows the end from the beginning. He can make something out of it. So that is the second one. You can pray and tell God, the Father, give me something that will make my husband pay attention to me, have an affection. Because so long as you were able to attract him There is something that can also sustain him. There is something that God can give you that will make him pay attention to you. And God knows exactly what that thing is. So go to God in prayer. And also finally, when it's time for you to marry, allow God to lead you. If you don't be selfish, if you love somebody and the person doesn't love you, allow the person to go. It takes two to tango. Don't impose yourself on somebody. Don't push your way through. Don't try to have him or her. It sometimes even happens to some guys. When they see a lady, or that maybe, oh, I'm in love with this lady, I must have her. And then he will start giving the lady money. He will start giving her gift in order for him to have her. Maybe the lady is also in love with somebody else. So the lady, maybe because of the financial benefit, because of the gift, may settle down for him. But at the end of the day, she will go back to her ex to have sex with her ex. And I don't want that to happen to you. So make sure that when you meet somebody, ensure that the person is committed, the person is dedicated. Both of you are on the same page. You will not be the only person who is trying to force the relationship through. You will not be the only person who is trying to make the relationship work. You will not be the only person who is pursuing the person. Make sure that the person is meeting you halfway. Allow God to lead you. And don't impose yourself on people. Because you see, when you want somebody and the person doesn't want you and you still want to have him or her, it means that you are very selfish, because you are not even concerned about how the person feels. You are not concerned about how he or she feels. You are just concerned about you. You are so self-centered. I want him, I must have him. I want her, I must have her. And it will cost you if you continue like that. So 3 lessons that I learned from that story. First of all, take responsibility. If you are not getting the love that you need from the marriage, you don't have to expect it, because at the end, after all, you are the one who went after him. You are the one who pursued him. He wasn't into the relationship, so you know it already. So don't expect too much. But it is not too late. When you put everything in the hands of Jesus, he will do something with it. And then finally, when it's time for you to get into the institution of marriage, allow God to lead you. And then when you meet somebody and realize that the person is not into you, the person is not interested in you, don't try to maneuver your way. Don't try to impose yourself on him or her. Don't do your best in order for you to have him or her. You may have him or her, but you may not have the person's heart. You may not have the person's affection, and it will cost you. So these are the 3 lessons that I learned from that married woman whose husband is not making her feel loved.